All right. Welcome, everybody, to our new 2023 editions of Come Cloud with Us. I'm Chris Gill, located in Rochester, New York. I've got my cohort across the pond, Abdul Kazi. And today's guest, or one of our two guests, is Rachel. So, Rachel, let's give us a few moments. Tell us about your background, introduce yourself, and welcome, by the way. We're glad to
Thank
have you
you.
here.
Thank you very much. Okay, my name is Rachel Irabor. As Chris has said, I'm a Microsoft Power Platform advocate, a Microsoft Power Platform developer, and a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. I'm from Nigeria, and I love Power Platform. Yeah, I love Power
Mhm.
Platform, and I started my journey from a non-technical background, and so far it's been amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So you see, you love Power Platform. Any particular area in Power Platform? And I don't want to steal any thunder if
Yeah.
you've got something buried in your presentation, but any particular area of focus.
Okay, I actually love the community. I love the Power Platform community. I love the technology itself. Like, I love that I can actually build solutions, I can build applications without coding. That's like, it's amazing. Then I also love that I love that it's up, like they update it every time. You have so much to learn. There's no particular point in time where you say that okay, I've learned enough. It's really big, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
And how long have you been working with Power Platform?
Okay, I started learning Power Platform last year, November. Yeah, I got to
Oh,
know
that's
about
great.
yeah, I got to know about it last year. First time knowing about like there's something called Microsoft Power Platform. Yeah,
Mm.
So wow, so you've really gone this path of just like, hey, I'm being introduced to it to like I'm ready to go. I'm building
yeah,
stuff and meeting people and making awesome things, right?
yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Um, So, tell us a little bit about like what do you have in store for us tonight? What would you like to kind of present to our group and probably school us on too? Because I'll be honest, I'm more of on the Azure side, but I really do love Power Platform too. So,
Yeah.
I find myself probably breaking more than I should, create in Power Platform, but that's all
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What I'm going to talk about is where to start your journey in Microsoft Power Platform, because that was one of the issues I had when I was learning. I actually started with attending a boot camp, like a boot camp organized by cloud advocates in my state.
Mm,
But after the boot camp ended, I had an issue with what to learn, where to learn, stuff like that. And after I finished the learning part, I was like, okay, what next? Where can I learn? What can I do? How can I implement it? So I had so many questions like that. So I'm just going to talk about where you can start your journey in Power Platform and continue your journey in Power Platform. Yeah,
excellent, excellent, excellent.
yeah.
Um, do any other thoughts before we let Rachel kind of take the show and run with this?
No, I think we should let her uh, run with it.
Awesome.
Okay. I think I'm just going to share my slide.
We'll just take a moment to welcome our viewers too. We've got a few folks here, so hello everybody. Feel free to throw in the comments any questions. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We're glad you're here. Happy to have you. So
Okay.
excellent.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did she to
I,
stream?
no, there we go.
Maybe. Yeah, she's frozen.
Oh, there we go.
There we
Oh,
go.
yes, we're golden.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, can I go ahead?
Sure,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Please.
Okay, so as I said, we're going to be talking about where to start your journey in Microsoft Power Platform. Like, especially when you have already started your journey and maybe you have issues, you have questions like where can I learn? What can I do? How can I implement it and stuff like that? And maybe you have a little bit of understanding of Microsoft Power Platform. And also you might have questions like, okay, with me learning Microsoft Power Platform, are there job opportunities out there for me? Stuff like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I've already introduced myself. So my name is Rachel Irabor. Yeah. So like if this is the first time you're hearing about Microsoft Power Platform is actually a suite of applications that low code and no code, meaning that you can either build solutions with coding or you can build solutions with not coding, meaning that if you do not have any experience with programming languages, you can build solutions with Power Platform. And if you have coding experience, you can also build solutions with Power Platform. So it's actually a home for everyone where you get to explore, you get to implement and also solve problems. And in Microsoft Power Platform, we have five tools, which are the Microsoft Power Apps, the Microsoft Power BI, Microsoft Power Pages, Microsoft Power Automate, and also the Microsoft Power Visual Agent. The Microsoft Power Apps is used to build applications. The Microsoft Power BI is used for reports and dashboards. Then the Microsoft Power Pages, which is a new application that just joined, is used to build websites, which was the former Porter apps, and it's now Microsoft Power Pages. And we also have your Microsoft Power Automate, which is used to cut down repetitive tasks. Like I have to, maybe for instance, I have to send tables manually, like from an Excel sheet to my manager every day. Instead of sending it manually, I can easily just automate that process. So, and also we have your Microsoft Power Visual Agent, which you can use to build chatbots. Like if you noticed, most websites we have chatbots. You can easily just embed your chatbots inside of your websites using like with Power Visual Agent. And you can also build a chatbot without coding. And there's also one thing to know is that, like what we're talking about where to start your journey in Microsoft Power Platform. There are so many opportunities to learn, and there are so many people in the community who are giving out resources. They are taking their time to post videos, they are taking their time to post blogs, and you can actually check them online. And one of your best chances is actually using Google. Maybe you're actually working on, maybe you're building an application and maybe you're trying to navigate a screen, like you're trying to move your screen from the whole home screen to another screen, and you are noticing that maybe the formula or the function you use in that particular screen is not working. You can actually use Google. You can ask like, what am I supposed to do here? Stuff like that. So Google also is your best bet. And we have YouTube, where we have so many persons in the community who are teaching Microsoft Power Platform. So you can actually just check about on YouTube, you can check about Power Apps, and many videos are going to come up for you, especially when you're trying to start your journey. Maybe you're trying to watch videos, and there are so many playlists too online. There's no excuse that, okay, the videos I'm seeing, they are so scattered. I don't understand where to start, where to stop. There are so many videos online, so many playlists, YouTube videos online on Power Apps, on Power Automate, and the rest, where they get to teach you the step by step on how to understand your environment, how to build solutions, and so on. Then Microsoft Learn is actually a from Microsoft, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. Like you don't have to pay money for it in order to learn. And the product is actually from Microsoft. So who is the best bet to learn from? So you can actually go to Microsoft Learn and you can check on resources on Microsoft Power Platform. There are actually modules and learning paths on Microsoft Power Platform, which will bring you from beginners level to intermediate and also advanced. And if you also have questions, maybe you might see on learning paths, you can encounter any maybe you have an issue, you can see, okay, oh, this is the solution. And one good thing about Microsoft Learn is that it has, as you are going through the process, it has assessments. Like it's going to ask you question, it's going to show you the step-by-step process on how to build a solution. Like it's going to show you, okay, step one, go to this environment, step two, add this screen, do that, do this, do that. So you are not just reading, you are also implementing it. So that's a good thing about Microsoft Learn. Then we have different blog posts online. Like I said before, we have so many people from the community who are taking their time to post things on Microsoft Power Platform so that others will learn, and also posting maybe challenges they encountered and how to solve that issue. So you can actually check on blog posts. We have so many people in the community who are posting blog posts online, and that is also a good way for you to learn. And there's also one thing too to know, like I posted a lot of links here. We have our Microsoft Power Platform. You might just be building a solution, you might just get stuck. And it's actually quite discouraging. Maybe you just started your journey and you just started learning and you just got stuck and you don't have anybody, you think you don't have anybody to reach out to. There are actually a lot of people online who are happy to help you. And if you think that, okay, I don't want to reach out personally to people, you can actually go to the Microsoft Power Platform community. Like we have the Microsoft Power Apps community, Power Automate, each of the tools in Power Platform. We have their different communities where you can go, you can ask questions, you can even screenshot your screen and show what the issue is, and people are there who are willing to help you, like they're happy to help you. And if you are online on social media, you can actually use the hashtag power added sharing is caring, or any particular tool where you are having an issue, and definitely you are going to see people who are going to help you, like, okay, since we can't solve it here, do you have time to jump on a call so that we can resolve this particular issue you are having? So you are definitely not alone in your learning journey. Okay, things
So
that's the end of.
yeah, so I
Yeah,
want to actually
sorry.
ask a couple of questions on there. So if you go to your third slide, because there's so many different
Yeah,
tools with Power Platform, there's Power BI, there are other things. So um, how, like, if people want to go into the journey, are there different directions into Power Platform, or are they um, just one way to getting it, right? Like, because people might be thinking, okay, there might be different ways of getting into platform, the different tools and whatnot, which
yeah,
you talked about in your slide three. So,
okay. Okay, for if I got the question you asked, like there are so many tools in Power Platform, and most times people get confused. Like, since there are five tools in Power Platform, I have to learn those particular five tools. You get me? But I feel that, like me, I actually work with Power Apps and Power Automate in Power Platform. So I feel that you have to go for what you think you need. In maybe you're already working already. You have to go for what you need in your job. Like the example I gave, I said that maybe you have maybe repetitive tasks you are going through. You can actually use Power Automate for that. And also Power Apps, instead of using, like, maybe you actually in a place where you have to, maybe a hotel, you have to write their names, paper. You have to use paper to write the names of people who come in, their time they come in and the time they leave. You can actually build an app for that, in order to, instead of going through the long process of using paper, getting, maybe that paper gets missing, or the particular paper gets filled up and you have to buy another new one to
mm,
continue the process of where you stopped, and that first note gets missing, stuff like that. So, and also Power Pages, you get to build websites. Maybe you are a business and you're trying to go digital, you can actually use Power Pages to build websites. You can use chatbots, which is Power Visual Agents. So it just depends on what you need. Instead of having customers call you on phone, having different, you don't have time to do other things. You can actually build a chatbot for that. So it does depends on what you need. like what's your work need. Then if you are not actually working, maybe you are actually looking for something to do, you are looking for where to start your career, Power Platform is actually very great because there are so many opportunities with Power Platform. And there's also one great thing I love about Power Platform is that you don't have to have a particular career inside of Power Platform in order to use Power Platform. You can be an accountant, you can be a receptionist, you can be anything. You understand me? In order to use Power Platform. So it just depends on what tool you need. And me, I love building solutions. So I love Power Apps. And I noticed that while using Power Apps, most times I was using Power Automate. So that's
Mhm.
where I got to adopt Power Automate. Yeah.
And how does the licensing work for our viewers? Is it one for all, or is it specific features have different licensing? Because I know Microsoft licensing can be very
Yeah.
challenging. Sometimes you need a PhD just to understand how
Yeah.
licensing works.
Yeah, it's actually not easy to understand the licensing, but there's one great thing about what Microsoft did. Like, especially when you're trying to learn, they actually have a Microsoft E5 developer license, which is actually free. You don't have to pay for it, and it renews on its own. So you can actually create that account to learn, to build applications, to practice stuff like that. Then for the licenses, I think we should leave that for the companies. But we have Power Apps per user, we have Power Apps per app, stuff like that. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I got to say, I mean, this really it's interesting. Is it hits close to home for me today? I honestly had a conversation with somebody. So somebody reached out to me and said, "Chris,
Yeah.
bunch of Microsoft stuff. Can I schedule some time with you to talk about?" And honestly, it was, and hope I don't know if this person's watching, but that's fine
Yeah.
because I won't call his name out. But he asked very genuinely, can we look at Microsoft To Do? Could that be something that I have a certain person that I'm working with? He's trying to
Yeah.
do task management. Is that something that fits? I honestly, because anybody who knows me goes, okay, here's four different things.
Yeah.
Not just the one. Let's not talk about to do. Let's maybe take a look at what does Microsoft To Do bring? What does
Yeah.
SharePoint lists or Microsoft lists? What does Planner bring? What does
Yeah. Why
any
not?
of these? So we talked through a
Yeah.
couple of them, and we got to a point where it's like, well, because of some things in our organization, this one didn't fit. And then there was another licensing thing. So the second one didn't fit. So we're like, okay, this one's out, that
Yeah.
one's out. And then we start talking through some of this other stuff. And I swear I'll get to the point here in a second. But the important part was as we start going and looking at these tools, and I look at the citizen developer thing as a very
Yeah.
true near and dear thing that I keep repeating to folks in my organization, folks in the community, is
Yeah.
if you can build something, if you have a visual talent, if you have any sense of just how things should work and flow and feel, and go build it, go break a
Yeah.
few eggs, feel free to go
Yeah.
out and do that.
Yeah.
Make an omelet. It doesn't have to be the most fantastic French omelet, but it's an omelet.
Yeah. You
Go
have to
do it.
start from somewhere.
Go
Yeah.
do it. Go play with it. Go learn, and then ask somebody else, how can I make this better? How can I improve it?
Yeah.
But the other thing in all of that too was I'm still blown away to this day because again, from the Azure side, logic apps. It's like logic
Yeah.
apps. They're very
Yeah.
much like,
Power Automate.
Power Automate and Power Platform, whatever. A lot of that
Yeah.
stuff, there's some crossover. It's amazing to me that so many of the products now too have that. Would you like to automate this by default? Or there's those touches of Power Automate. Or can I build this as a model app or whatever else, or Canvas app? And it doesn't really say that, but it's like, here,
Yeah.
click this button, and then I'm going to start on that journey. So, have you seen a lot of folks, at least in your excursions, have you seen a lot of folks just natively kind of walking into that and becoming, I don't want to say accidental, but it's kind of accidental citizen developer because
Yeah.
they're curious, because they're clicking on those
Yeah.
buttons.
Yeah, and there's also one thing too I noticed is that Power Automate and Power Apps is actually part of the either F5 or F3 license, like your Office 365 license. Like you get access to it. So even in your so you have access to it, especially for the licensing, and it's great. And with what you even said, like there's also one great thing too. One needs to know when starting their journey. They need to be aware about users' experience. They need to be, because me, I did not really know about that. I was just starting my journey, and I got to know from the community when I saw a lot of blog posts, I saw a lot of resources on accessibility, especially when you are building an application. You have to think about your users. Sorry, you have to think about your users. Okay, if I build this application, are my users going to understand? Are they going to be able to see the colors? If they work in the sun, will they see what is on the screen? So stuff like that. You have to think about that. And also you have to think about documentation too. Documentation is very great. And also maybe commenting later on in your code. Because maybe for instance, I'm actually learning and I'm following a resource. I'm just building along with that resource. And maybe there's a code they did there that is kind of complex for me. And within that particular minute, I understand what that code is doing. Then maybe I'm trying to come back to it maybe a week later. Without an explanation, it's going to be hard for me to grasp, okay, what happens here. So it's actually great to document, actually great to comment, stuff like that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hi, Abdul. Yeah.
So, on that front, I guess from a Power Platform, how much have you integrated that with Office 365 and others as well?
Yeah, okay. For Office 365, like there's apart from even Office 365, there's one great thing about Microsoft Power Platform too is that you can easily integrate with different applications. You understand? And you can use different data sources. When that particular data source is not available, you can, especially in maybe Power Apps and Power Automate, you can create a custom connector for it and actually connect it to the API, which is awesome. Like you have so many, yes, like you're flexible. Yeah, really, really flexible with Power Platform. And like what you said, Office 365, I think I've used the Office 365 connector inside of Power Apps. You can actually use your Outlook. You can connect to your Outlook. You can connect to your Excel, stuff like that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because I've seen people doing a lot of flow, right? Make Power Automate flows with Outlook or Excel to
Yeah,
your point, and yeah, so that's amazing
yeah,
too. So
yeah. It's
any new
amazing.
notifications coming in or anything new coming in, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think. And what are the typical use cases you've seen with Power Platform?
Okay, I've seen use cases of let me say like an establishment, maybe an inventory app. I've seen use
Hmm.
cases of inventory apps. I've seen use cases of maybe like a, let me say like an approval flow where maybe I have like a warehouse and I have so many workers working there. And maybe I'm working under somebody. Maybe I'm working on that. I have two people above me that I'm working on. Maybe I have to refill the warehouse. Maybe I have to refill, let me say like a bottle of water. It's finished. I have to refill it. Maybe I have to take permission from like two persons before I can order for that particular product that has finished. So instead of me calling them or telling them that okay, Mr. John, this is not available, this is not available, I can actually just create a flow for it, like a Power Automate flow. And especially when they are not around, maybe they went for a vacation, I have to wait for them to come back before I
Hmm.
can go through any step. You understand? I can easily just create a flow for it, an approval flow where they get to receive it on their email to tell them that okay, oh, this is what is happening. Yes or no? Are you accepting this flow or not? Or they can even download Power Automate on their phones. Maybe when they're on vacation, they can download Power Automate on their phones and they can actually get the approval flow on their phones. So there are so many use cases with Power Platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good use case about approving, because a lot of managers have to approve a lot of things, and Chris, I'm sure you can speak to that.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, if you automate a lot of things, then people don't have to message you or hound you saying, "Hey, can you
Yeah.
approve that for me?"
See,
Yes. I just
it's funny. It's funny you say that, Abdul, because I'm thinking about it's like, yeah. So some things we definitely have an approve or deny button, but I'm thinking about, oh, I've got Power Automate desktop running. Can I just, find the approve button and automatically click it when it comes in?
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. It's very
I
great.
don't recommend that to just everyone, but given due time, after enough approvals and they all look good, I think it's a pretty safe bet. You can just approve most, if not
Yeah,
all
I
of
just press it.
But
Yeah,
so, and it's an interesting segue. So one of the things that I, a lot of folks I feel are, still it's like that traditional developer. They've written a lot of VB, C Sharp, .NET
yeah,
code. They've done the reporting services. They, have had some Power BI experience. For me, it's like of old SharePoint, Office 365, whatever the original, the OG, the whatever you want to call it. But
yeah,
kind of looking at some of this stuff, like honestly, you said something that resonated with me right at the beginning of this, which is you could pretty much start anywhere. Like you could
yeah,
be a seasoned professional who's done this for 20 years. So I'll
yeah,
put my hand up, and I've been doing it for 20 years. It's like I, I've got experience with SharePoint. I've got some experience in Exchange and whatever else, but the power, ding ding, the power
yeah,
of Power Platform is just being able to go out and say, almost like a puppeteer. It's like here's this one component, here's this other thing, here's something
yeah.
else, and I find that super interesting. I'm curious, like how many folks do you see that are kind of struggling with where do I run this Power Automate flow? Like, is it something that should be running in the cloud? Should it be something that's running on my desktop? Where is that, like, you
Okay.
know,
I've
that
not really
middle
seen.
ground?
Okay, I've not really seen anyone like for Power Automate, but I do know that developers, like professional developers, that they have taken so many years coding, like C Sharp, Python, stuff like that. They feel that maybe they can't really work with Power Platform, but they actually have that difficulty at first when they are starting out with it. They have like two, should I start, should I, there's no need. They have questions, they're asking a lot of questions. But like I recently talked to someone who is actually a developer and he has spent so many years with coding and the rest of it. So they actually, when they finally make up their mind and come into Power Platform, they see that it's easier. Like they take a shorter time building applications instead of taking months. Yeah, yeah. They take a shorter time of building applications, and they also see that they can extend Power Platform with coding. Yeah,
Yeah,
and which is a very good thing because they see that they can actually still code inside of Power Platform. So it's
right.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, I
That's
think
awesome.
to your point, right? Like Chris even said that anybody can do it. So you said people coming from the accounting background or even
yeah,
other background they can do, and it's all automation too. So once you have the logic, then yeah, you can start basically programming it. So I think
yeah.
that's what it makes it so easy to do it too.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. It's really great. Like it's a home for everybody. Like come in, come in, come in, come in.
So
Yeah.
talking about that, I guess on the flip side, what challenges have you seen with Power Platform when you were starting to learn, or what
Yeah.
advice would you give, or share your challenges?
Okay. I think the challenges I had was one, I was thinking, okay, if I learn Power Platform, will I get a job? That was the challenge I had, one of the challenges I had. And I had to create like a Twitter space and reach out to people in the community and ask them like, what is your day to day like?
Mhm.
Yeah, I had to ask them like, what is your day to day like? How do you work with this particular tool? And I felt that there are still a lot of people out there who had the same questions I did. So I actually created a Twitter space for it where I was inviting people from in the community and holding different Twitter spaces. That was one of the issues I had. I was thinking about the job opportunity. The other thing I was thinking whether Microsoft Power Platform was for me, because that was during the boot camp. That was the first time I've ever heard about Microsoft Power Platform. And like 2 weeks to that 2 weeks to that boot camp, I recently heard about tech. I recently heard about careers in tech. So I recently heard about careers in tech. So it was kind of, I was trying to grasp everything. stuff like that. So I was thinking, is Power Platform for me? And when I finished the boot camp, I was confused where to continue, because after everything, I was like, okay, how can I continue my journey? How can I learn more on this? How can I learn more on this tool? And most times, when I was trying to maybe build an application, I got stuck. Yeah, then it was hard, but now it's kind of simple to me. Like the things I was getting stuck on, yeah, the things I was getting stuck on, and it was kind of frustrating then, because I did not really. I was just coming into that platform very new, and I was very eager to learn. So with asking questions online, I got to see people. I was actually asking questions on Twitter about, okay, I'm actually doing this, I'm doing this. This is why I got stuck. And I saw people replying me. I got to be a part of the Power Platform community in Nigeria.
Nice.
And we actually have like a WhatsApp group.
Hmm.
So I could easily ask my questions there, even though maybe I'm shy to ask the questions online on Twitter. Yeah. So I can easily just reach out to somebody personally from the Power Platform community in Nigeria and ask them that, okay, this is the issue I'm having, and I get responses. So it was really encouraging. So one thing, the advice I'll give is that try and the community is very important. The community is very important. Like when you are stuck, when you have questions, when you have doubts, you can actually reach out to people and ask them, or you can actually reach out to like the online community on Google, the Microsoft Power Platform community. You can ask your questions there. You can reach out to people in the community. You're learning, you're not doing it for anyone. That's one thing to know. You're not doing it for anyone. You're trying to build yourself up. So you can actually you have the YouTube there. We also have Microsoft Learn. We have blogs. We have so many resources. So you just have to check for them. You just have to open your Chrome, your Edge. Just have to open it and say, "Ah, Power Platform." So you just have to search, and we are definitely going to see resources to learn on. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's actually great advice because a
Yeah.
lot of people are coming into Power Platform now. It's becoming a huge market, a huge demand. So people want to learn and how
Yeah.
they want to go. And also, share. You also have a YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do. I have a YouTube channel. Yeah. And a
Nice.
podcast
Awesome.
too. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, actually, we can share the link in the chat so at least people can take a look
Okay.
at that. So we
Yeah.
can do that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And how often do you do the spaces? You mentioned you're doing Twitter spaces, right? So
Yeah.
is that on a monthly basis, weekly basis? If anybody wants to join, how do they
Okay.
sign up for that?
Okay. I was actually doing it in this 2023. I was actually doing it in 2022. I did it for 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I was doing it sometimes every week, once every week, sometimes once in 2 weeks. Yeah, so it depends on the availability of the speaker. I
Mhm.
was doing it, I did it for 5 months. Then after I ended it, but I continued the Twitter spaces with Power Platform Nigeria community, and we were doing it for 2 months, twice in a month. Then later we were doing it once every month. Then I was thinking that, okay, the reason why I started that Twitter space, I was trying to reach out to Power Platform is not that popular in Nigeria. People are only aware about Power BI, but they are not aware about the other tools in Power Platform. So I was trying to tell people, okay, there's actually an opportunity here for you if you are trying to come into tech, because a lot of people, they are scared that, okay, oh, because it's tech, I have to code, I have to do so many things in order to come into tech. So I was trying to create an opportunity for people that, okay, this is actually a platform you can
Mhm.
come into. There's opportunities here, there are job opportunities here. And when I saw that, okay, I can actually reach a wider audience than Nigeria. So I created a podcast. I'm posting it on YouTube, on Spotify, Anchor,
Mhm.
and yeah, and also on Google Podcast, where I just try and spread awareness to like the whole world. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Actually, and that's the thing, right? Like you're in such a different. I guess you're in a different time zone. So if people want to listen to your YouTube or podcast, that's easy. But
Yeah,
sometimes the Twitter Spaces might not work because if you're doing the
yeah,
Nigerian Power Platform, that's going to be a different zone than New
yeah,
York
yeah.
American people or
That's
even
true.
Europe, right? So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the Twitter spaces, it gets expired. Maybe I record them within 2 months or a month. You no longer have access to them anymore. But with recording to YouTube, and you have access to it anytime you want to listen to it. Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Chris, any other questions?
Oh my God. I have so many questions. We could probably spend the entire night just talking about Power Platform. I mean, you could probably sense where my mind is going and stuff. But yeah, I will say this, and I circle back to we talked about that. You can use code if you want, but you don't
Yeah.
have to. I know last year we had gone through some Power BI training, but the amazing thing is, that DAX, the DAX language itself inside of that can be used throughout, like Power Effects or DAX or whatever.
Yeah.
Now it can be used throughout platform. So if somebody is like, hey, here I've taken this thing, like me, here I've taken this and I've created this thing and I really need some help
Yeah.
because I'm not a developer anymore. I was 15 years ago, but really not writing code. Wink, wink. Um,
Yeah.
could somebody help me with this? It's like there's other folks that, like you said, it's like just ask the
Yeah.
question. I would argue the only bad question is the unasked question. So ask the question,
Yes.
ask for
Yeah.
help. Somebody's bound to just offer something,
Yeah.
to at least get you and nudge you in the right direction. But yeah,
Yeah.
you go as deep as you can to ask for help for the rest of it and see where it ends up. So
Yeah.
I love that it's in it. You're right. It was, when it initially, I think initially when it was like Power Platform, it's like, okay, they seemed, I'll say it, maybe I get smacked, but it seemed disparate. When it first launched, it seemed a little disparate. It's like, well, here's a couple things. Now it truly is. It's like we talked
Yeah.
about, you know, Microsoft Teams being a platform for delivery of services. It's like I can put tabs and all this other stuff. Same deal. I can
Yeah.
build these Power Apps. I can build, these Power Automate, all this other stuff, and then make
Yes.
that sing through Teams, through some of these other mechanisms. So it's just all intertwined and interconnected.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
The
powerful.
collaboration. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It's really amazing. Yeah, and there's one thing you said that there's one thing you said about Power FX. Power
Mhm.
FX too is another thing to learn, especially when you're going for Microsoft Power Apps, and you can actually learn them online. They are just functions. You don't have to be scared. Yeah, they're just they're just functions. Yeah, so you have to learn them. You can check on Microsoft to learn Power. You can check on YouTube and others to learn on Power FX. Yeah.
And I'll be honest. I mean, I can't say enough about. You brought up Microsoft Learn a couple times, but yeah, it's been huge for me. There's things where it's like, okay, I have a few minutes. They're small, consumable. It's not like
Yeah.
I have to sit in front of a video for 45 minutes. I have 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I can go work through some part of it. There's
Yes.
learning plans and things
Yeah.
for that are driven towards certification or just learning in general. It's like I want to learn from the start how to create a Power App. Go.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
if you
nice. It's
even,
self-paced. It's free. It's yeah.
yeah, you don't have to pay for it. Yeah. And if you even learn to a particular point, maybe you stopped and you logged out, you can actually come back and continue from where you stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Love that.
amazing. Yeah. It's really
Love, love, love.
amazing.
So yeah, I think I'm out of questions. Well, maybe I'm out of questions. Is there a question?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't see any questions in the comments.
Okay.
So with that, thank you so much, Rachel, for your time.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the session. I learned quite a bit.
Thank you.
I'm not a Power Platform, as Chris said. We're really Azure in Office
Yeah.
365, but
Rachel, we're going to work him over. He's going to be a Power Platform. He's going to learn it some way, shape,
Yeah,
or
it's
form.
going
Right?
to be, we're dragging him like this.
right on, right? Exactly. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show and enlightening us with your knowledge and sharing, your experience and um,
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll come again.
Yeah, I will.
I'd love to have you back. So, fantastic
Yeah,
job. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Bye, everyone. And if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe wherever that button may be. You know where it is. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.